All eyes were on the Moody downgrade, but what actually happened under the surface could matter way more for traders right now. Not all market days look exciting, but it's these quiet ones that offer the biggest opportunity. Here's what I'm looking for. 27.5% of you that watch these videos do not subscribe, although this week it was really good. A lot of you shared the video and subscribed and clicked all notifications and were aware of what happened this week with CoreWeave and QBTS, so it was worth your wait. Hit subscribe. Click all notifications. Let's do it. A lot of the basics are here, and we should just go over those to begin with. Number one, we should all see this level, and we're probably sick of me talking about it, but it's really important, this December 18th, and our ability to hold right in here. And we are holding it for now. You can see the control bar here, your up, piercing pattern reversal, there's your bearish engulfing, and then you just kind of been whacking around in here and holding pretty nicely. And I do like this. I do like what we're seeing. I don't really have any complaints with this. This is what I think that you need to be aware of, though. When you drill into the details, and the devil's always in the details, it just is, go back 5 days. What I like to do with this more than anything is if I'm using a 5-minute chart, a lot of people will say, well, how far back do you go? 5-minute chart, 5 days, 15-minute, 15 days, 30-minute, 30 days. If you think about it like that, your life gets a lot easier. And that's where I think that they have, their significance begins and ends. But see how you're having this higher high right here? And then if we just do the simple things and we just kind of drop this down, you're going to note that between Monday and then Tuesday evening, you got this doji right up here. Let me show you the doji. Hold on one second. And once you got this, and I know it doesn't look like much, but see this like right in here, these long-legged dojis. Down, up, can't make a decision. There's your doji. And then so what this doji does, and a lot of people don't look at these, but I always want to know what's happening at these. And I can give you great examples of these over and over again, even at the close today. But once that doji made that decision right in here, then that was pretty much it for everything. And people will say, does it really matter that much? Yeah, to me, it kind of does. And you can see these everywhere. If you really start looking for them, it gets kind of hard to start missing. You're like, oh, look, there's a long-legged doji. What did it do? Well, it went sideways. Well, what did it do after that? Oh, it broke down. Okay, maybe I should pay attention to these. They're really telling. You can always look at support and resistance, but it's those smaller dojis, and when they act, you want to pay attention. But you could see that this was coming. If I clean off all these levels and then just do the simplest of things, you'll see this divergence up here. And again, divergences don't care if you believe in them or not, just like gravity. But when you see these things here, actually it's not true because gravity works all the time, right? Divergences don't work all the time, but it's a pithy saying. So we're going to come up with more pithy sayings so you remember it. So anyway, the higher high, the what? High, and then you have a lower high. Therefore you have a divergence. I did read all your comments. Keep them coming. A bunch of people that did subscribe to be on the wait list did ask why they didn't get an invitation yet. I'm sending them out. I'm just doing it in small batches because I get to speak to everybody that joins. That said, I also got your comments on the RSI video. I'm going to do one. I'm going to do an advanced class on RSI, and I'll just post it. Probably within the next week or two, I think I'll have it ready. Anyway, so when you see this kind of stuff, you want to pay attention to it. While you're flowing in line, it doesn't really matter. It's when you're flowing out of line that you might want to start paying attention. And usually it happens around these other levels, like right here. And I'll tell you why I like this right now and why you're like, well, why do I care about this right now? There he goes yammering about his divergences. I'll tell you why, because you're going up. You obviously are in a trending market, right? You are in a trending market, whether we want to believe it or not. And I am really surprised how quickly you blew off the Moody's downgrade, but you did blow it off. When you have these divergences, if you're playing these in a trending market, your life gets easier. You can also use your moving averages and VWAP and things like that, but these tend to work a lot more. Hence, they don't always work 100% of the time, but they tend to work a lot more in trending markets. I'll use them in non-trending markets to tell me where I could be forming a bottom. It's a lot better that way, but you're seeing a lot of these and they are working and they are keeping you in and out of trades. And you can see it everywhere. Super important today. If you look at these names like Tesla, for example, they're giving you ample opportunity to get in and get out and then do the trade again. It's not just once that they're offering opportunities in these kinds of markets. So if we take a look here, for example, everyone's giddy. And one of the comments I actually had on Tesla today, the real trade was here. And this is what you have to focus on. The previous highs and the previous lows. That was the real trade today because what you have here, and super important in this market, especially for the next 3 days, what you're going to have is you're going to have tests and retests. and they're going to be super technical because you're not going to have a lot of volume. So the technical side of the market is going to overweight us right now, right? So the technical side of the market is going to overweight us right now. And the reason for that, I don't have any real macro noise coming out. Maybe we're going to get another tweet or someone's going to be mean to us again. Who knows what happens, or we're going to be mean to someone, whatever. At the end of the day, you're holding these levels. And as long as you're holding them, then you wind up to respect them. But why are they holding now? Because you don't have anything else that's going to drive you right now but technicals. And you're going to have lighter and lighter volume going into the long weekend. We're already starting to see that volume dissipate. But the super technical side of trading presents you with ample opportunity if you use the right tools. One of the things that one of the guys put in the room today, and I was laughing because he shorted this, and my point here on the short was, yeah, Elon's going to drive around with the Treasury secretaries on CNBC. Everybody knows this. So there's no reason to own it if everybody else already owns it. And I expected it to sell down, obviously not this. But the point being is, if you take a look at how you're aligned, you could tell that this had the ability to come in because you had this negative divergence when it was hitting a higher high. At the same time that you can utilize it here, we were able to use this like literally right off this bottom. It presented an opportunity. Now, I hoped that we were going to get more out of it, but the day trade that we did for the second time, we did one right off the open just on the news. And this is exactly my point. When you have news and everyone else doesn't have this access to the same news, like what happened this morning as fast as it happened with Elon, I'm staying at the company for 5 years. Yeah, that's why you could make money off of this. When you're announcing for hours and hours that you're going to be on CNBC, and then it comes out, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to drive around. We're going to drive around in the car. Okay. Like, everybody knows you're going to drive around in the car. Like, who cares? So we hope the cars are drivable. Anyway, you see these divergences, those divergences that take place on what? Support lines, where those support lines come from, previous highs and previous lows. Resistance is support, support is resistance. Just a question of if you're going to flip and then confirm. So we had a trade in here, made a couple dollars on it. This is significant, and you're going to see more and more of that this week, especially with the light volume, so that's why I'm going to go over it. Super important. Google's I.O. day started today, and it didn't really go very well from a stock trading standpoint. You have obviously this huge control bar right here. You've been unable to really close above it on any significant level. If we mark it off, and I think we're going to stay with a bunch of names tonight because there's a bunch for tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be fun to trade. But you're at this high end up here, and you can't really stay in it. And then it looks like we're probably going to retest that area coming back down. Super important. When these things are like into day one and they're acting like this, it usually does not get any better for them. They usually come out with like the cat's pajamas the first time, and then after that, that's it. If you watch our level right here, that gap, and then you watch the close, test, test, test. Okay, it's not rocket science, guys. We just looked at it on Tesla, right? And you can see, what am I showing here? I really don't need to show much, right? I'm just showing price. And I don't care if you use candlesticks or whether or not you want to use open, high, low, close. It doesn't really matter. It's the same soup reheated. Just use what you're comfortable with. But if we look at it from this perspective, tests, held, retests, tell me where your stop is without telling me where your stop is. Don't close below the close. And then you did great. And then they came out and said, oh, things aren't going to be as fantastic as we thought. Okay. And then boom, bam, get smoked. Super important again. What did we talk about with these doji up here? You could see it. Rallies, fails, first bar that closes under what? That little tiny doji, and then bam. And you think it's not a big deal, but these dojis, they're little decision makers. Even up here, you can see it. You don't know the magnitude of them, but if you had a move or you're expecting a move and you start to see them, you really want to pay attention to them. You had all these other names, like all these quantum names have huge volume today, like really rippy volume on this conference. And QBTS was the one that we were trading in the room. And we were trading actually since yesterday, and you could see the breakout going into it. Obviously, you're a little overextended, and then you could start seeing it fade later in the day. Did 3 trades. The last one didn't really work on it, but you didn't really break down either. So you just didn't give me a reason to hold it overnight. But you are still in this range, and if we took a look at the simple things and just measured from here, and then just looked at the 50% line, because to me, the 50% line just tells me whether or not I should be in the trade or not. Like, should I hold it? Should I not hold it? And look at that. Isn't that a Christmas miracle? So from the high to the low, there's your 50% line, and you couldn't break it after you got above it. So most people would look at this and hold it. I don't really want to hold anything in a light volume market that I'm down in. It's been a lot of fun, and it's pretty easy to do these trades over and over and over again. Like they're there, right? So the volume's there in the market enough. and the technicals are there that it's making it very easy. But you are getting some of these names like NBIS that are just giving you opportunity after opportunity. If you look today, right here at the open, super interesting area, right back to the open, the test, rallies, goes from there. I do like using the RSI. It doesn't have to be a divergence. Oh, look, we're completely oversold down here at that key level. Okay, did we ever get down here before and hold? I'm glad you asked. Yeah, we did. Down here when it was 35. Oh, look, same RSI level, right? So this is some of the stuff we'll go over when we do the advanced video. That's why I say, you know, click all notifications, because I don't know when I'm going to have it finished. I mean, to be candid, I trade. So I put this stuff out when I can, and that's why these videos all come out at different times of the day. I think that's really important for people to get, because sometimes like, oh, it's supposed to be up by 9. Okay, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. So I'm looking, I can turn this thing on. NBIS, I would watch this tomorrow, but the doji kind of gives you the pause. So, you know, watch that 41, 44 level. I think that's super important. Now, one name that you're not seeing anybody talk about in the sense of, oh, we're going to have some real issues here, or, oh, I better get out of it, or it's dropping, is Nvidia. And it's pronounced Nvidia for those that want to know the correct pronunciation of it. And you can see in here how you're building just this little high tight flag. I think from here, you'd have to look at this and say, why can't we get through that control bar? Pourquoi, as they say in France. So you just want to watch this and see if you can get through or not. And I really don't care one way or another. I'm in from back here, and I think it's got a shot at it. And the earnings, I think, are really just going to be the driver. I think it's super important for people to remember that nobody loved this thing at 88. Nobody wanted to go near it. Now you're what, 11% off the all-time highs, and everyone's wondering why they don't own it going into next weekend, or next week rather. So I think we're 5 trading days out from Nvidia, which usually starts to mark, you know, that tail end. And the super tail end happens when AVGO comes out with earnings. If you go look at every rally in tech, they usually ends after AVGO, which takes you into that June. And that kind of does make sense. I would just say that you've come pretty far, pretty fast on some of these names, but the growth that's there that you're seeing with names like CoreWeave now, it's pretty significant. This is one that we've traded for some time. It's actually one that I actually posted in this, just on this channel, where right here, I was just talking about these IPO breaks. And these IPO breaks, either to the upside or downside, the first one, not where the noise is, but after you're down and up or down, the first one, once you see that, it's pretty significant. And you can see from here, when you go back and go look at our videos on May 3rd and go look at the videos, I guess it was either May 1st or end of April, we had it out there where we were talking about this. You know, getting above this is going to be clutch. We talked about how it failed, and then we want to watch it get above. And that's such a core concept for you guys that are traders that are like, I want to be in this, but I want to be in this long term. And you can see it here even on the short side. Like the easiest short in the world for me was this. The day that Rivian broke, back in the day, where you cracked right here, couldn't get through, you never looked back. You never had to worry about this trade ever, no matter what people said or did, or Rivian's going to do this, they're going to invent air. You would just be like, whatever, boomer, because you could never get over there. It never happened. Super important. Watch this with the Salad King right here, and you just watch Kava. Really clear, cannot miss it. Over, rallies, explodes from there, breaks down, fails, and then from here you go from 45 all the way back down to 30, flips, retests, holds 44 to God knows where you went to before you started battling that area again. 44 to, I guess, 150 for salads. People thought that was going to last, huh? Okay, so now you can see the battleground going on right in here. Super important concept. I would definitely pay attention to it, because now you're getting more of those kinds of names that are coming out. You have the eToro, and I do expect this. We should probably talk about this subsector out there. I would start paying attention to these kinds of names, like the eTors that are out there. If you can start flipping these, you just put a little alert on it so that you're aware of it. And no matter what your system is, that's what I do with them. It just makes it easier, because then it goes off, and then you can actually even set the alert on TradingView. I should do a whole video on TradingView. Like, there's so many cool features. You can have it go to a webhook. You can have it go to your phone or text you. And you can put exactly what that alert is, because I set alerts and then forget why. And it doesn't mean that I'll do it, but I want to know. But you're seeing stuff like this. The other thing that I thought was super interesting was that this bull started to try to flip, and then it couldn't. And I think that that's really important, that you look at these peak VWAPs too and go, okay, well, that's what I would have to get through. And you're just not there yet. The other side of this that I think is interesting, before I get to the sector, I can't believe that this isn't breaking down on the fact that their own employees were selling information to hackers. It's absolutely beyond anything to me that this company just did this and that everyone's just kind of blowing it off. I don't know. I think customers deserve better than to have the people that are entrusted with their data sell it, but whatever. And then hack you. But if you can see this bar right in here, you're unable to get through that. I actually think this is why you're seeing Hood move the way that it is. This is about pennies away from that all-time high close. I had a trade in this. I didn't actually close it because I just wanted to reduce risk. But it does really beg the question when you look at this, like, is that going to open up room for the Sophies of the world and the Hoods of the world? Because for whatever reason, these guys like, the younger generation really like lumping these three together. Not really sure why. They're very different, but they tend to do it. I do think that it's pretty impressive the way that you're holding. And you probably could link it to the Bitcoin and what's going on there. And that's not the sector I really want to talk about. But I am surprised that this is not pushing, because right after you're done all the tax stuff, they're going to come out with all the crypto stuff. And you see how you're lifting here? And that leads you to MSTR. And I do want to leave you with one other sector. But just for those that trade this, just be aware, you have your first higher high here, and you haven't had it in some time. And what I mean by that is this is the first higher high close. It has not happened since you had this move out. You had your reversal. There's your doji. You flipped the doji. And since then, it's been pretty much blue skies. You look at this doji, and what's crazy about that is if you watch this for a second, but wait, there's more. See that right there, that 406.90? Because you're going to be like, this guy yammering on about his dojis. He's obsessed. Yeah, but watch that 406.90. My mother says I have the voice of an angel. So if I mark that off right there, and then I drop it to here, you're going to see that that's actually the top of the doji. And then you come here and realize that, wow, you were 50 cents off of that today. And then you look at where that is. It's absolutely crazy how it works, but I would definitely pay attention to those. It is really, really important. And then you hit that low of that doji, and what happened? You just ripped $12. Super important concept to get, especially in a trending market with light volume. You're going to see more super technical trading like this, especially end of days. So there's a whole lesson just in that alone. But wait, there's more. I want you to look at this KCE. Why? Because you're seeing IPOs come out, and I'm going to do this in Saturday's video. I'm not going to do it now, but you have names like CoreWeave, for example, that just crushed it going public. eToro, which was a pretty good one, right? So you're seeing like eToro, some of these companies that are coming out right now, they're crushing it. Private placements and the funds that are at these endowments like Harvard, Yale, they have to sell. They don't have a choice. They have to raise the money. Private equity firms are flooded. Like, they have to sell to go do the next deal. They're going to start having to go private or sell those pieces or go public. It's great for the investment banks, but it's great for the KKRs of the world, the APOs of the world, the Lazards of the world, the Mollison companies of the world. It's great for all these companies. Moelis does the high yield side of the market. If you look at that and start watching KCE, not that KCE, this KCE. I don't have time to edit this, guys. We're just gonna have to rock and roll with it. And you can see this as well right in here. I would watch this subsector of finance. I think it's super important. That's it.